اور محمد و آل محمد صلوات اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد. آج رخصت ہو رہی ہے تم سے زہرا یالی، آج رخصت ہو رہی ہے تم سے زہرا یالی، پردہ شب میں میری میت اٹھانا یالی، آج رخصت ہو رہی ہے تم سے زہرا یالی، پس لیا توری گئی کیسے یہ بتلاؤں گی میں، حشر کے میدان میں بھی اس حال میں آؤں گی میں، ہاتھ پہلو سے نہ تم میرا ہٹانا یالی، وہ مصیبت آپ نے اچھا ہوا دیکھی نہیں، اب میں سیدھے ہاتھ سے تسبیح پڑھ سکتی نہیں، ایسا کنفذ نے ہے مارا تازیانہ یالی، کہتی ہے زینب یہ مجھ سے دیکھ کر چہرہ میرا، آپ کے رخسار پر یہ نیل ہے کیسا پرا، میں نے کھایا ہے تماچا مت بتانا یالی، تازیانے کی اذیت کا اٹھانا ایک طرف، وہ تماچے قتل محسن در جلانا ایک طرف، سب سے مشکل تھا مگر دربار جانا یالی، جب میری تلقین پڑھنا یاد کر لینا ذرا، در کے گھرنے سے میرا بازو بھی ہے ٹوٹا ہوا، میرے شانوں کو ذرا دھیرے ہلانا یالی، میرے شانوں کو ذرا دھیرے ہلانا یا علی، آج رخصت ہو رہی ہے تم سے زہرا یا علی، چاہے آ جائے قیامت مجھ سے یہ وعدہ کرو، جب تلک مولا میرے شبیر کی مرضی نہ ہو، تب تلک میرا جنازہ مت اٹھانا یا علی، جب سے آئی ہوں پلٹ کر فکر ہے مجھ کو یہی، میں تو پردے میں گئی پھر بھی ضعیفہ ہو گئی، بے ردا دربار ہے زینب کو جانا یا علی، کربلا میں جب میرے مظلوم پر خنجر چلے، پیاس کے عالم میں وہ غازی کو جب آواز دے، میں بھی آؤں گی وہاں پر تم بھی آنا یا علی، ہاتھ پہلو پر رکھے بولی تکلم فاطمہ، میں دعا کرتی ہوں تم آمین کہہ دینا ذرا، جلد آئے میرے مہدی کا زمانہ یا علی، جلد آئے میرے مہدی کا زمانہ یا علی، آج رخصت ہو رہی ہے تم سے زہرا یا علی، پردہ شب میں میری میت اٹھانا یا علی، پردہ شب میں میری میت اٹھانا یا علی، آج رخصت ہو رہی ہے تم سے زہرا یا علی. إلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات, especially for the roh of مرحومة خير باي مواني رحم الله ما يقرأ سورة المباركة الفاتحة. بسم الله.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعماؤه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتحدون الذي لا يدركه بعد الحمم ولا يناله غوص الفطن ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم وآل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين صاحب العصر والزمان خليفة الرحمن إمام الإنس والجان ولعن الله أعداهم أجمعين إلى يوم الدين أما بعد فقد قال الله وقوله الحق بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أومن كان ميتا فأحييناه وجعلنا له نورا يمشي به في الناس صدق الله العلي العظيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. I first of all send my condolences to the Imam of our time, to all of you and your families on the days of Fatimiyya. The days of Fatimiyya, the grief and the gham that comes with these ayam are no less than the days of Ashura. In fact, many historians have said that had it not been for what happened and occurred during these days to Sayyida Fatimah Zahra alayha, then perhaps Yazid and his like wouldn't have the audacity to do what they did to Imam Hussein on the plains of Karbala. So these are grief-stricken days for us. And on a personal note, I am always grateful, always humble when the ISIA of Edmonton and the Jamaat reaches out to me to include me in such programs and give me that opportunity to spread the message to myself first and then maybe to all of you. And, you know, I thought that by now, during the days of Fatimiyya at least, that there will be some sense of normalcy in this world. And unfortunately, I was wrong. I've been with you, the Jamaat in Edmonton, now off and on since Rajab and Sha'ban, and of course all throughout Muharram, and again, you know, for Fatimiyya as well. And you know, and it's sad that I cannot be with you there in person. And I pray for all the mu'mineen there in the community. I pray for our fellow man there in Edmonton, that Allah protects them or cures them if anyone has gotten this virus now, or may Allah protect you from this virus. Please take the necessary precautions. Listen to those people who are, you know, setting out restrictions, and look out for each other. You know, when it comes to a discussion on Bibi Fatima, there seems to be this level of secrecy when it comes to her life. There's not much written about her life in terms of the details of her 18 years in this world. What we do have is a lot of what she did for the Holy Prophet through his history. What we do have are a lot of words of, let's say, her husband or her children or her father that speak about the greatness that's her. But her everyday life, her growing up, various stories and various narrations from her life, they are few and far between. And it seemed like that was a theme that was there from the beginning of her life until the very end, from how she lived her life, to her burial, to even her graveside. And talking to some ulama, I've gotten the sense that they are asking us to respect that secrecy. And so I wish that I could, you know, give you a biography, a detailed one like we have, let's say, of the Holy Prophet, what occurred when he was born, his childhood, let's say, for example, his youth years, and of course, you know, him being mab'uth and him being declared as a prophet. We just don't have those details. At least I haven't seen them like that inside of our books. But what we do have are immense lessons from this great lady that we can apply to our life today. And one such lesson that I want to speak about today and also tomorrow, inshallah, that I'm with you as well for these both of these lectures, is the idea of service. Being a source of light for somebody else. Rescuing somebody from their own darkness. Extending a hand to those that you know would really, really need one right now. The verse that I read for you guys from Surah An'am, it's verse number 122. This is the verse that I spent the entire Ashra of Muharram in 2018. If you remember, in Toronto, I spoke about the Illumination of the Inner Light was the series that I had in 2018, where I dissected this verse in totality. But for the sake of our discussion tonight and tomorrow night, I just mentioned the first half of the verse, where Allah says that you were somebody who was dead. Abaman kana maitan, you were dead. Now, tafsir tells us that this was a death of spirituality, a spiritual death. You were in the clutches of shaitan and you were already, away from the path of Allah, and you had now, deviated. And if you had refound your spiritual life again, he says, فَأَحْيَيْنَاهُ. We are the ones that then gave you life. We gave you hayat. Not only did we give you life, وَجَعَلْنَاهُ لَهُ نُورًا يَمْشِي بِهِ فِي النَّاسِ. We gave you the light as well. We gave you nur as well. So not only did we give you hayat, we gave you nur. We gave you life, and we gave you light as well. Not for yourself. Yamshi bihi fin nas. You can take that light and walk with the people with that light. Where you see darkness and you have enough light now to rescue them from that darkness, rescue them from that darkness. I think about, it's been 9 months now. If I date the pandemic to about mid-March, it's been 9 months. And there's no sort of normalcy in sight right now. And many people are saying 2021 will be quite similar. Yeah, the vaccine is here, but I'm administering it, and then, this idea of herd immunity, and it's not going to be, it's not going to take a matter of days. We're looking at months. And I think about those individuals who are my elders, first and foremost. I cry for my elders. All of you know how brutal winters are there in Edmonton. We have brutal winters right now in Toronto as well, every year. And yet I would see these elder individuals, they wouldn't miss a single program at the center. Not one. Freezing rain and X amount of feet of inches of snow and, horrible driving conditions. And there they are by themselves now, taking the chance of, falling on a slippery parking lot or crashing their car when they make a right turn. But the thought of them staying home when the center has a program just wasn't an option. That was their salvation. This was their medicine almost. To go and to listen to a lecture, but more importantly, I think, to meet people, to break bread, to share a cup of tea. And now that's been gone. That's been lost. Yeah, we have, I'm not sure how it is there in Edmonton, but we've, a few centers in Toronto have opened up a little bit, but with heavy restrictions. 6 feet apart, wearing a mask, let's say, for example. You can't use this facility. There's no eating on the premises. You're in one door, you're out the other. It's not how it used to be. I think about, for example, I think about these women and children at home who have abusive spouses and abusive parents. Verbally abusive, physically abusive, God forbid. And their only freedom, their only breath of relief or sigh of relief was when this abuser of theirs, be it their husband or their father, was gone to work for 8 or 9 hours. And now he's working from home. And so the one place that you are now asked to stay inside during this pandemic becomes your prison. I think about people like that. How are you even getting through one day? Forget 9 months of this. I think about people who have mental health issues, depression, anxiety, stress. People who crave, going outside, meeting people, right? These young kids of ours, they're on their winter break right now. They should be, going here and going there. We had all sorts of plans to travel in the Christmas holidays, my family and I. We've been grounded. And now looking at these kids who should be out there playing, I remember growing up in Toronto, I would leave my house at 10 a.m., wouldn't come back till 5 or 6 p.m., playing this sport and that sport, going here, going there. That's what a child should be. No child, no 5-year-old should know what the word pandemic means. No 7-year-old should have a discussion with their father about vaccine and vaccinations. But I feel sorry for these kids. I feel like their innocence now is being slowly taken away from them. And if your schools aren't open, for example, that interaction they need from people who are like their same age and like their same thoughts, all that is gone. And my point in this opening lecture is the fact that everybody across the board needs an extended hand of help today. There are some people that are loving it, sure. There are people who are homebodies. There are people who have social anxiety. They don't like getting out, let's say, for example. They're loving the idea not only are they home, but the ones that they love are home as well with them. There are some people who have really benefited from this pandemic, that I've gotten to know my kids, Malana. Me and my spouse are tighter. We did some DIY projects around the house, did some spring cleaning, did some decluttering. It's been great. It's been so refreshing. I haven't been on a plane in almost a year, and my family is loving it. That Baba's home for never been home this late, this long for so many years. But there has to be a sense of us thinking about others. We can't go to people's homes. We can't, I don't know how it is in Alberta, but in Ontario right now we are in a full lockdown. Started yesterday, full absolute lockdown. Just your circle and your bubble being the 5 of us, for example. Not my mother, not my siblings, not anybody else. Forget, community members, or forget first cousins and uncles and aunts, nothing. So these are the days where we really have to search inside of ourselves and see, is there an element that is selfless? And we get this from Sayyida Fatimah. Bibi Fatimah salamun alayha was somebody that we know through her words and how others described her, be it her children or her husband or her daughter or her father, that she was one of the most selfless people that there were. Stories that we've heard, giving away her wedding dress, for example. Suratul Insan, giving away her iftar to a yatim and a miskin and asir, to an orphan and a beggar and a captive. Telling Imam Mustaba that when you pray for everybody else, then pray for yourself. We get from this at least that if we want to pay a true tribute to her during these days of Fatimiyya, let's examine how much are we doing for others. If Allah is telling us in Surah An'am that, look, I've given you hayat and nur, life and light, what are we doing with that light? Are we holding on to it? Are we simply illuminating the darkness of my soul? Or are we simply using it for my family? Or do I have enough brightness in my lamp, in my flashlight, in my light to be able to illuminate the ones that I know right now are in darkness? It doesn't take much, guys. It does not take much nowadays. I tell you, I got a phone call last week from a regular member of our community who attends almost every single program. He just called to say, Malana, we miss you. Our youth miss you in your classes on Thursday night. I miss seeing you. I hope you're okay. I'm sorry I can't do anything for you. I wish I could come by and have a cup of tea, but I can't. But I'm sending you my du'as, and we're thinking about you and your family. And I just thought to call you and say salam. And that made my week, guys. So literally sometimes, take a moment out of your day, every second day, every third day, scroll through your contacts. Look at the people that you have in your phone. If you know there are people who possibly could be vulnerable, our elders, our widows, our single moms out there, right? Our young kids, people that you know are fighting depression and anxiety. Just send a message. Maybe don't call. Send a message. One line, thinking about you, hope you're well, you're in my du'as. Maybe an emoji here and there. It goes a long, long way. And that's what I want to focus on tonight and tomorrow night. You know, the example that I gave almost, 3 years ago now, and I'll give the example again is, you know, you go camping and after sunset, it's really, really dark outside and you have to, walk to another campsite, let's say, for example. And you tell your tent, the guys in your tent, look, guys, I have a flashlight. Don't worry. Keep your flashlight in the tent. Save the battery. I'll use my flashlight. It's enough now for everyone to use it and benefit from it. Okay, perfect. So now the sun sets, it's pitch black, and you're asked to now walk over to the next cabin, let's say, or next campsite for the fire pit, and your friend pulls out his flashlight, and lo and behold, it's a massive one that lit up half the campsite. And he's like, wow, this is a sick flashlight, man. The 4 or 5 of you now are walking with this one light. And this guy feels good, right? He's the guy who's now supplied light for everybody. That's one example. The other example, he says, guys, I got this. Don't worry. Let me use my flashlight. You don't need to put your flashlight at all. Put it away. In fact, save your battery. Turns on the flashlight and literally illuminates 1 inch ahead of him. It's barely enough for his walk, let alone 4 or 5 of his buddies. Now you're thinking, you know what? Wait a second. I thought that you had enough light for us. You don't. We're tripping over everything here in the dark. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that I've given you the lights, and He's commanding us, yamshi bihi fin nas, walk with that light amongst the people, that means that we have that amount of light inside of us. It's a matter of discovering, it's a matter of using it. Now, this discussion, let's start off with one hadith by Imam Jafri Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. And this is quoted in Imam Khomeini's 40 hadith book, and I would recommend that book to anybody who's looking to better their akhlaq or better their morality. It's online. It's very well translated online on the alislam.org site. Hadith number 30 of the 40. Hadith number 30 in that book. Imam Khomeini does a commentary of this hadith of Imam Sadiq's. When now Imam Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam, he categorizes the hearts of us into 4 different categories. He says, Inna quluba arba'a. There surely are 4 different types of hearts. Okay. Al-qalbu fihi nifaq wa iman, the first one. That heart that has both hypocrisy and faith in it. Al-qalbu mankus, al-qalbu matbu, al-qalbu al-azhar. 4 of them. Now very quickly, let me go through all 4. Very, very quickly. I'm trying to get to a point here. The first one is quite self-explanatory. It's a heart that has both iman, faith, and hypocrisy, right? Fihi nifaq wa iman, right? Both of those. Meaning that sometimes those who have this type of heart, they fluctuate between a state of hypocrisy and a state of belief. They believe, they deceive, they deceive, they believe. They go up and down on that seesaw with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, regretting, remorsing, repeating the sin, this idea of nafs al-lawama as we know it. Lawm in Arabic means to regret. That's the first type. That's easy enough. The second type is al-qalbu mankus. Mankus is literally means something that is inverted. Okay, inverted. Okay, when you invert something, like you take it and you flip it, not only does it change its form, but it changes its function as well. Okay? So for example, if your kid says, Mommy, can I have some orange juice? Sure you can. And just when you're about to pour the orange juice, your son or your daughter turns the glass upside down. You're like, funny, I can't pour orange juice in there. It's going to spill because there's no opening. Just try, Mommy. No, I don't want to try. Please turn your glass right side up. That's the voice I have, right? That's the voice saying, hurry up, otherwise. And so not only did the glass change its form, but now it's rendered useless because you can't pour anything in it. Imam Sadiq says that a heart is somewhat like that. It sometimes takes a form of being inverted. And he equates that heart to a polytheist, a mushrik. The one who has not used the heart properly, has changed the form, has changed its function. It doesn't look the same, it's not acting the same. That's why it's going around believing in everything else but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As he says in the Quran, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ تَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ لَن يَخْلُقُوا ذُبَابًا وَلَيَجْتَمِعُوا لَهُ. That of those that you call upon besides Allah, they will never be able to even create a fly, a dhubab in Arabic, even if وَلِيَجْتَمِعُوا لَهُ, if they were to gather all together and sit in a boardroom, all the brains of Apple and Google and Amazon and Microsoft and IBM and Apple and God knows what else, all of them in one room, with all of their money, they still won't be able to create a fly. Allah says, who? The ones that you worship on, تَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ, besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those are people who continue now to create idols, worship them, create idols, worship them, worship this idol, and everything but God. Their heart has been inverted. The third type, al-qalbu matbu'. The opposite of matbu' is maftuh in Arabic. Maftuh means one that's open. Matbu' then becomes one that's sealed shut. The heart that is sealed shut. The heart of a munafiq, the heart of a hypocrite. Nothing goes in, nothing comes out. Look, if you want to cleanse something, want to cleanse a jar, for example, you have to open up the jar, let the dirt out, and then go in and clean it. If the jar continues to be sealed and closed, the dirt can't come out, and the cleaning agent can't go in. Very simple. The hearts of a hypocrite are just like that. They're sealed. Okay? I mean that the dirt continues to manifest itself inside the heart, and the purifier doesn't go inside the hearts. Now, mind you, the moment that these two, be it the mushrik or the munafiq, the polytheist or the hypocrite, they get their act together and they turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will answer that call. Okay? He will actually welcome them in. But until they are set in their ways, until there's jur'at in their jahalat, there's audacity in their ignorance, then those hearts will continue to have the fate that they have right now, either inverted or sealed. And that leaves the fourth type of heart, al-qalbu azhar, or in the female version, azhar in the female version is zahra. The heart that illuminates. And this, of course, belongs to the believer. And he's very clear in that hadith that this is not the illumination of just your own corners. You have to use the light that Allah gave you. If there are many of you who are comfortable right now in this pandemic, and I mean everything from financial to your relationship to the fact, like there are many of you who are strong in your marriages, alhamdulillah. You and your spouse are strong, and you've gotten stronger the past 9 months. She loves the fact that you're working from home. He loves the fact that now he sees you so much and you're working from home as well. It's amazing now. You guys are reading Jamaat namaz together. You guys are having lunch together. It's nice. There's more spare time, right? There's no commute time. There's no tiredness. There's more freshness. You can do things around the house. It's beautiful. For many of you, it's been a beautiful experience. And in this negativity of the pandemic, the silver lining is that there are actually some families who have gone stronger. If you are like that, if you are somebody who is comfortable and serene and strong in your life, then look to export that strength outside. And I don't know if we're there yet, guys. I don't know if that culture that we have is there yet. When we know that a person is burning and that house is burning, that I know it's on fire right now, I don't have the culture to pick up the phone and say, look, I know things aren't the best right now inside your home. Is there anything we can do? We think 1,000 times before we make that phone call. What if she minds? What if I'm overstepping? What if we're not that close? What if I think I'm that close, but I'm not that close? Now I'm making her feel like she has to reciprocate. Oh my God, Sayyida, it hurts your head. thinking, and that's nothing but shaitan. You have a good niyat, you have a good intention, it's khair, it's pure, and help somebody, do it. If she slams the phone down in your face, then so be it, man. But your intention was good. And someday, one day, she'll realize, you know what, when I was down, when I was dark, nobody bothered to reach out to me except for this person. And I was rude to them. And they will call back and say, look, I'm sorry. I was going through a lot back then. No problem. I just left the door a little bit open. Don't think 1,000 ways about this, guys. If you know somebody can really, and I'm not asking you to solve their problems, give them a blank check, I don't know, repay their debts. No. You can't fix their marriages. You can't miraculously make their kid more pious. You can't do any of that. You can't do any of that. What you can do is, if you can't solve the problem, at least sit in the darkness with them. That's it. Would you mind if I came and I just sat with you? How's it going? What's going on? Nothing. That's it. Okay. Even if you guys end up talking about everything but the actual issue, and there are people like that who will dance around the issue, talk about the weather and travel and I don't know, this and that sports and that fashion and this entertainment and that movie, then so be it. But I will guarantee you the 5 to 7 minute conversation you had about nothing was very beneficial for them. Because for those 5 to 7 minutes, they weren't alone in their darkness. They had somebody with them. Sometimes when the power goes out in my house, and lights go out, and my kids are a little bit scared, the first question they ask is, Baba, are you there? And if they hear that I'm right beside them, they feel better. Lights aren't back on. It's still pitch black in my house, but they know that someone is there beside them in that darkness. Sometimes all I'm asking you to do is think about who can I share their darkness with. Then you'll sit there and say, Maulana, what if that makes me dark? Again, you have to be strong. You have to be strong, and you have to be, firm in your, and mind you, and inshallah tomorrow night I'll get to this idea, that sometimes we don't understand that the rescuing of me from my darkness is absolutely connected to me helping someone else rescue them from their darkness. It's an absolute connection. Happiness that we are all dying for in this world right now, contentment, serenity, sukoon, all of that comes sometimes from reaching out and lending a hand to somebody and giving them, half of the strength that you have. And mind you, let me say one more thing, and I want to present to you one hadith, inshallah, and then we'll move towards Masa'ib. It's already been, almost 40 minutes. When somebody realizes that you yourself are going through a lot, and you reach out to them to help them go through their problems, and they actually end up saying, and I've heard this before, that, oh my God, you're trying to help me, you yourself are going through a lot. And they can recognize that this person now, I know they're going through their own problems and their own issues at home, or their own issues, let's say mental health wise. And they're reaching out to me and they're putting all their pain aside to help me through my pain. Oh my God, such a beautiful message. Such a beautiful message. And that's what I want all of us to begin to cultivate inside of our hearts, is just reserve a portion for everybody else. When's the last time you called your uncle or your aunt and say, are you guys okay? I talked to my uncle, a couple of weeks ago, and my heart was hurting. He just said, better come by and just wave from the driveway. That's all. Just let me see your face. Let me see your kids. Just come by and say hello, and we can sit on the driveway 6 feet apart if you want. Just show me your face. I just want to see your face. It's just heartbreaking for these people. Now, there's a hadith that I came across that I absolutely love. It's one of my favorite traditions. It's really, really powerful for me. And I found it very relevant in terms of our discussion today. It's a hadith qudsi. Hadith Qudsi are those words that are directly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that's not found in the Quran. So words of Allah that are not verses of the Quran. Okay? They start off by saying Qala Allah, for example. Okay. In this hadith, it's very beautiful. He says, فَمَنْ قَصَدَنِي عَرَفَنِي وَمَنْ عَرَفَنِي أَرَادَنِي وَمَنْ أَرَادَنِي طَلَبَنِي وَمَنْ طَلَبَنِي وَجَدَنِي وَمَنْ وَجَدَنِي خَدَمَنِي وَمَنْ خَدَمَنِي ذَكَرَنِي وَمَنْ ذَكَرَنِي ذَكَرْتُهُ بِرَحْمَتِي. Oh man. Every time I read this hadith, it's amazing. I'll explain each word. Allah says, for the one who does qasd, فَمَنْ قَصَدَنِي, for the one who now makes a movement towards me, wants to now begin the process to know, to understand me. Maybe this idea of God that Maulana Asad and others keep talking about, maybe this is an idea that I should explore. I've tried everything and I just haven't been able to rid myself from this problem. Let me go ahead and try this. The one who does that, arafani, he knows me, or she knows me. She has ma'arifat of me. Okay. They would not intend to move towards me if there wasn't some level of awareness about me. They've heard about me. They maybe even felt the power of God inside of them. Who knows? فَمَنْ قَصَدَنِي عَرَفَنِي وَمَنْ عَرَفَنِي أَرَادَنِي. The one who has awareness of me, ma'rifat of me, has irada towards me, has this will towards me, this drive towards me. Right? Irada is Urdu, Farsi, and Arabic, right? This will, this drive. When you have a certain thing that you have, an irada for, you have this will, this desire, this push now, this motivation now, right? The one who knows me has a motivation towards me. وَمَنْ أَرَادَنِي طَلَبَنِي. The one who has this desire for me looks for me, he says. Looks. Who's saying this? God saying this. The one who has this will for me looks for me. وَمَنْ طَلَبَنِي وَجَدَنِي. Allahu Akbar. And the one who looks for me finds me. The one who looks for me finds me. Almost, he makes it sound like, and it's exactly what he's saying. It's impossible that you go searching out for me and I don't make myself found by you. I don't make myself visible. It's almost impossible, he says, that someone searches for me and they come back with zero results. No. وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةِ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. He says, for the ones who ask you about me, it's the Holy Prophet, tell them I'm near. Tell them I'm near. If anybody comes to you, Ya Rasulullah, and asks you about me, فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ, tell them I am surely near. I haven't gone anywhere. If there's distance between me and them, it's them that's walked away from me, not me. The moment that they're ready now to call upon me, أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةِ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ, Surah Baqarah, whenever I will answer the call of the da'i, of the one who calls, إِذَا دَعَانِ, whenever they call. Whenever they call. وَمَنْ طَلَبَنِي وَجَدَنِي. The one who searches for me finds me. وَمَنْ وَجَدَنِي خَدَمَنِي. This is where the point is. The one who finds me now serves me, does khidmat of me, khadamani, becomes a khadim of mine, a servant of mine. وَمَنْ خَدَمَنِي ذَكَرَنِي. The one who serves me remembers me. And this is the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَنْ ذَكَرَنِي ذَكَرْتُهُ بِرَحْمَتِي. And the one who remembers me, I remember them with my mercy. Beautiful hadith. Beautiful hadith. A hadith of hope, a hadith of love, a hadith of the fact there is no point of no return. But the point that I wanted to extract from this hadith, when he says the one who finds me serves me, how does Allah want to be served? One last point, and then inshallah, a little bit of masaib and intamasadua. The two dimensions of Allah's service is haqqun nas and haqqullah. Yes, no doubt, the way Allah wants to be served sometimes, and the best way to serve Allah is to fulfill the obligations we have on His shoulders. Sorry, on our shoulders when it comes to Him. Meaning what? Our salat, our fasting, our hajj, our khums, all those things are there. But that's one dimension of it. Sometimes we think that so long as I'm able to fulfill I'm regular in my salat, I fast every month of Ramadan, I've gone for several hajjs, I'm good. It doesn't matter how I am with everybody else. No, that's wrong, man. That's ghalat. 100,000% wrong. Imam Sadiq says that the path to ubudiyat, the path of subservience, travels through 4 stations. You and Allah, you and your deeds, you and the dunya, you and others. You have to make sure all 4 of these are in a right state of mind for you to even trickle the path of being subservient to Allah. A lot of people think, look, I don't miss one salat, I don't miss one Ramadan, I have not missed one chance to go to Hajj, I give my khums on time every single day. Me and God are good. You ask the family of that same brother, and they'll sit there and say, Maulana, we live with Fir'aun, we live with Saddam. Yes, he has a nice, mashallah, a nishani on his forehead, nice white long beard, maybe possible tasbih time, his hat is always. He's a tyrant inside of our home. And he thinks me and God are good. I have a palace in Jannah waiting for me. Hold on one second. We don't want to be like that of Sa'ad, of the Holy Prophet's companion, or the Holy Prophet's companion, who was there with him, beside him in the war of Uhud, passes away. The Prophet now reads his talqeen, washes his body, buries him. And when they go for pursa and condolences to the mother of Sa'ad, the fellow companions congratulates. The mother says that, mashallah, your son is right now enjoying heaven. And the Prophet pulled them aside. Said, who told you he's enjoying heaven? If you could hear what I can hear the cracking of his bones right now in the grave. Ya Rasulullah, you're the one that washed his body. He was your companion. He was there in the war of Uhud. It doesn't matter. He was a tyrant at home. He wasn't good with his wife and his children. So service and khidmat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not just me and God, me and God, me and God. I've seen it too many times. A member of the community has the utmost respect of the community. MashaAllah, first saf of salat. When no one is there, he reads salat. When no one is there, he reads du'a kamil, mashallah. And anyone has any fiqh question and there's no alim available, they go to him. That same individual asks the people inside of his home, and they'll say, I'm sorry, he's not a man of God. Serving Allah is serving others and serving Him as well. We understand the idea that namaz is wajib on me and fasting is wajib, that's fine. But do we understand that part of the service of Allah is to pull someone out of their darkness? If you've ever had a thought, and even now as you listen to me, you are thinking, you know what? It's been a long time since I've reached out to this person, and I know that they're struggling. Don't think 1,000 times about their reaction. Don't think about what it might happen, what it might mean, this hidden meaning and that hidden meaning. Just pick up the phone, man, and message them. It takes 2 lines. Salam, hope you're well. How's it going? I don't know. Thinking about you, I thought I'd check in. Maybe an emoji or something. That's it. If they ignore you, fine. Be okay with that. Be strong in the fact that God knows my intention. And do it all with the niyat of paying tribute to Sayyida Fatimah on these beautiful and very special nights of Fatimiyya. Because that's the life that she lived. Utmost sacrifice. She was there beside her father as Ummul Abiha, someone who was taking care of her father. But he would come home and his hands would be bloody from thorns being put on places where he would worship by the enemies. She would attend to his wounds. She would make him, she would give him that encouragement, not verbally, just to know, what, Baba, no matter what happens on the outside, this is your maskan, your mahallay sukoon. If that was enough, she stood beside her husband after Saqifa, going door to door, some say, were you not in Ghadir? Were you not in Ghadir? Were you not in Ghadir? Yes, I was. Yes, I was. Why are you so quiet now? The first defender of the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen was Sayyida Fatimah. Standing there, physically standing there between him and those who wish to hurt Ali. 18 years of life, and yet she left behind a legacy of lessons you and I can carve our life out of. One of them is others, others, others. Break the idol of individualism, please. Break the shackles and the chains of selfishness. Let's stop thinking about me, myself, and I. Let's understand that my healing is when I heal others. My medicine is when I inject someone else with a nice vaccine. My headache will be gone when I am the Advil of the other person. Sorry, that's a bad example. Do you understand what I'm saying? And if you get nothing in return, know that he is shahid. He is hadir. He is nadir. He's present. He's witnessing. He's watching. And we have to understand and respect that idea and understand that God does not let a single good act by anybody go wasted. He gave shaitan respite, guys. For thousands of years, there was shaitan of all people. Who are you and I? You, mashallah, believer, a mu'min, a mu'minah, a believing family. You think that for a second he will allow that to go wasted? No. And fine, if you don't get that ajr, if they ghost you and don't respond to you, that's fine. But God saw what I saw. Wallahi, God, you know that I reached out to her and to him to mend hearts, to share in their darkness, to simply extend a helping hand. Don't think 1,000 times, guys. Don't let shaitan come and infiltrate that beautiful thought of yours. The moment you have a niyat khair, a fikr khair, a good thought, a good intention, act on it. Otherwise, this nafsi fight we have, this, you, yourself, and I, hey man, we're good here, good luck to you guys, it's not going to cut it. These are the moments where, being part of a community now actually is beneficial. These are the days that we are now in quarantine and isolation and a pandemic that we really could rely on our friends and family who should be there for us, right? And if you're waiting for someone to call you, message you, forget all that. You instigate that. If you don't get the response, it's okay. It's okay. You always maintain your love and akhlaq and let others feed off of that. Never let them dictate to you. Why should I call Malana? No one's ever messaged me asking me how I am. Am I alive? How am I feeding my family? Okay. But if you don't like how they are with you, then why are you becoming like that as well? You get my point. Inshallah, we'll expand on this tomorrow a little bit more to look at, through the legacy of Sayyida Fatimah, this idea of others, serving others, helping others. If you can't solve their problems, share in their problems. Empathy. Listen, I understand. I'm sorry you're going through this. I wish I could take that pain away from you. But if ever you need to talk, I'm right here for you. These are very difficult days of mourning for us. And ones where the hearts get soft. Take full advantage of the softness of the heart and use that to help others. Sayyida Fatimah and Imam Hussein had a very special connection. A little bit of Masayib, inshallah, into Masiduha. This mother and son connection was established well before the day of Ashura. Inshallah, tomorrow night we'll recite the Masayib, Sayyida Fatimah in full, but initially, it's important that we understand how hard it was for Imam Hussein to watch his mother leave this world. When Sayyida Fatimah comes back from the masjid during those very difficult days near the ending of her life, she says to Asma bint Umays, Asma, I'm going to my room. If you can hear the dhikr of Allah from my lips, know that I'm still in this world. The moment that my dhikr stops, know that I am gone. Asma now so difficult for her. She listens, she can hear the tasbih of Allah being read by Shahzadi Kaunain. There comes a moment now where that dhikr stops and she stops to listen and she doesn't hear anything coming from the room of Sayyida Fatimah. Enters the room, calls out, Ya Fatimah Zahra, Ya Bint Muhammad, and no response. She goes inside the room and they're lying there lifeless. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Is the daughter of the Holy Prophet. Asma kneels down, covers her face and says, please send my salams to your father when you see him. She begins to cry, goes out the front door. The first people she sees is a young Hassan and a young Hussein. They look up at Asma and they say, Asma, Aina Umna, Asma, Aina Umna, where is our mother? Where is our mother? She doesn't say a word, puts her head down, walks back inside the house. They follow along. When they enter the room now, where they see their mother now lying there, Imam Mujtaba goes running towards the body now, begins to cry. But Hussein's reaction was something else. Hussein waited, almost as if his actions tell me that, Mama, I've never come to you without you holding out your arms for an embrace. I've never come to you without you calling me. Now that I ask you, please call me one last time so I can come towards you. This was the same Hussein when he left Medina. He went to the Holy Prophet's grave. Nana, I'm going to Kufa. Nana, I'm going to reform your ummah. Nana, I'm going. As a brave soldier now, he salutes his grandfather. But when he went to the grave of his mother, stumbling like a small child, collapsing himself on the grave, Mama, I'm leaving Medina now. I wish you could take me with one last embrace. I wish you were here with me. There comes a moment on the day of Ashura. Bibi Zainab now reminds Hussein that, Bhaiya, you're not alone. Mama is with you. She leans forward and kisses the forehead of Hussein. What are you doing here, Zainab? Zainab says, Hussein, Bhaiya, Mama told me that when my Hussein goes in the Maqtal of Karbala, kiss him on that forehead, that when nobody had arrows and spears, they would throw rocks at my Hussein's forehead. سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to accept this qaleel or ibadat, inshaAllah. We ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to accept our grief and our gham and give us no grief or gham except for that of Ali Muhammad. We ask you, Allah, to allow us at tawfiq to live the legacy of Sayyida Fatimah. And finally, Allah, one dua we have constantly is that please allow us to be beside the Imam of our time when he comes. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
सितम की हो गई ये इंतहा रसूल के बाद, सितम की हो गई ये इंतहा रसूल के बाद, सितम की हो गई ये इंतहा रसूल के बाद, चली है मांगने हक फातिमा रसूल के बाद, सितम की हो गई ये इंतहा रसूल के बाद, रसूल ज़ादी खरी क्यों रही सरे दरबार, रसूल ज़ादी खरी क्यों रही सरे दरबार, ये कौन तख्त पे बैठा रहा रसूल के बाद, सितम की हो गई ये تیہا رسول کے بعد وہ جا کے شہر کے باہر پدر کو روتی رہی، وہ جا کے شہر کے باہر پدر کو روتی رہی، کسی نے گھر میں نہ رونے دیا رسول کے بعد، کسی نے گھر میں نہ رونے دیا رسول کے بعد، ستم کی ہو گئی یہ انتہا رسول کے بعد، شہید ہو گیا اس کی ہی ضرب سے محسن، شہید ہو گیا اس کی ہی ضرب سے محسن، درے بطول گرایا گیا رسول کے بعد، ستم کی ہو گئی یہ انتہا رسول کے بعد، وہ جرم کیا تھا کہ جس پر علی کو گلیوں میں رسن سے باندھ کے کھینچا گیا رسول کے بعد، ستم کی ہو گئی یہ انتہا رسول کے بعد، شکستہ ہو گیا کیسے بطول کا پہلو، شکست ہو گیا کیسے بطول کا پہلو، بتاؤ ظلم یہ کس نے کیا رسول کے بعد، ستم کی ہو گئی یہ انتہا رسول کے بعد، کوئی بتائے ہمیں کیوں بطول کے گھر سے، کوئی بتائے ہمیں کیوں بطول کے گھر سے، ہمیشہ رونے کی آئی صدا رسول کے بعد، ستم کی ہو گئی یہ انتہا رسول کے بعد، ستم کی ہو گئی یہ انتہا رسول کے بعد، فاطمہ زہرا، فاطمہ زہرا، فاطمہ زہرا، زہرا فاطمہ زہرا، یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا، اے میری بی بی، اے میری بی بی، تیرے در پہ استغاثہ ہے، تیرا ممنون میری شہزادی یہ جہاں سارا ہے، یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا، تو ہمیں حفظ اور امان دے دے، اپنی چادر کا سائبہ دے دے، تیری قدرت میں کیا نہیں بی بی، تو جسے چاہے دو جہاں دے دے، یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا، تیرے دل پر ہے جو ستم ٹوٹ آسمانوں زمین پہ ہوتے میل شب وہ سیاہ ہو جاتے یا زہرا یا زہرا اے میری بی بی اے میری بی بی دیکھ کر تیری مصیبت کو سارا عالم کا دل مصائب سے پارا پارا ہے یا زہرا یا زہرا تجھ کو امت نے یوں ستایا ہے مرگ محسن پہ بھی رلایا ہے تجھ کو بابا کے بعد امت نے ہائے دربار میں بلایا ہے یا زہرا یا زہرا اے میری بی بی اے میری بی بی کتنے صدمے اٹھائے ہیں تو نے جیتے جی تجھ کو میری شہزادی غم نے مارا ہے یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا إلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات, especially for the ruh of مرحومہ خیرن بائی موانی رحم اللہ میں اقرا سورة المبارکۃ الفاتحہ. بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم الحمد للہ رب العالمین مالک یوم الدین. بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. السلام علیک یا رسول اللہ, السلام علیک یا امیر المؤمنین, السلام علیک یا فاطمة الزہراء سیدتی نساء العالمین, السلام علیک یا حسن المجتبی, السلام علیک یا ابا عبد اللہ, وعلى الارواح التي حلت بفنائك, عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار, ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولى وابن مولى, السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء, السلطان أبا الحسن مولانا علي بن موسى الرضا, كن شفينا وشفيع والدينا في يوم الجزاء. السلام عليك وعلى أختك فاطمة المأسومة جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولانا يا صاحب الزمان, السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن, السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن, السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان, أجل الله لك ما وعدك من النصر وظهور الأمر, وجعلنا الله من شيعتك وعوانك والمستشهدين بين يديك. اللهم
كل ولي کا حجت نے حسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.